you're in a position of life and you just thought to yourself, I want to give up, you don't feel lucky, take some lessons from Kacey's stories today, right? You create your own luck.
Let me ask you a question really quick. Do you believe in luck? So many people say when someone is successful, they are lucky. If they win, they are lucky. There's no chance in hell that people win so much or they're not lucky. You're only lucky and your only win is when we give yourself a chance. Welcome to the Give Yourself a Chance podcast.
Kacey, thanks for joining us today. I can't wait to get into your story, but more so, why should people listen to you? Or how do we phrase the last time? Why should people even give a crap about what you're about to say?
I believe that I'm blessed to be a blessing, and I was put on this earth to do great things, and nothing fulfills me more than helping others. And so I hope that what I share today will help someone feel motivated, feel heard, feel inspired, or maybe get them out of a rut that they might be in, or help them find a solution to something that they've been wondering about.
Yeah, that's great. One thing to even throw out there for our listeners with Kacey is it's not even just, because I feel like I've heard that from a lot of people, and I've then like looked at what they try to teach me. I'm like, yeah, but you still, like, I'm glad you have a big heart, but like, I don't want to learn from you.
Right.
You know, like you're somebody who doesn't just have a big heart. You've had a really sharp mind to make really good business decisions. And I'm really excited to learn from your failures, because if somebody smart like you still did that failure, that's a failure I want to avoid. Right? Because now it's like I'm borrowing your experience, wisdom, and even more. So I'm really excited for this. So I've been listening in. Kacey's a badass. You're going to see exactly why as she starts opening up.
Thank you.
Yeah. We usually start off with a little bit about our favorite things. And so let's just start off with that. This week, Min, what's one of your favorite things this week? Whether it's food, wins, losses. You've had so much going on this week.
Yeah, my favorite thing is Monster Drink. I know they're bad. Shut up.
That was my favorite thing this week, but not Monster drinks, actually healthier energy drinks than that one.
I like Monster Drinks because they give me that little extra push. And you know, I know it's bad for you, but I need that extra push sometimes.
Yeah.
Especially I have so much going on in my life, and that little extra push kind of gets me through it. So I love Monster. I buy them pretty much. I only buy one each day. I don't know why, but I can buy the whole case because I'm not weird like that. It's a ritual. Yeah, it is a ritual.
Yeah.
I leave my house. I go to Stater Brothers. I take a lap around it, and then I go buy the drink. When I know I'm not supposed to buy anything, if I see the front, I lap all the shit I can't eat.
My favorite thing this week was seeing a little bit of progress. Like I've been more consistent with working out and just seeing a little bit of a tone definition in the mirror. I was like, I forgot how good this feels. Yeah. Like it's just so encouraging to just get those little wins that motivate you to go a little harder. And so it made me do more reps. It made me do more sessions. It's been good. So that's been really cool.
The question is how long you stare for.
Kacey, what's your favorite?
There's a couple favorite things. I have a 15-year-old son and a 13-year-old daughter, and my 15-year-old son still says that he loves me and gives me a kiss every morning, and even in front of his friends when I drop off at school. Which and when he hangs up the phone with me, even with guys in the background, he still tells me he loves me. So that means a lot to me.
Yeah, huge. Great job, Paul.
Yeah, I think that's probably one of the best things that happened this week. On top of business and other things in my relationship, it's kind of your kids are a reflection of all your efforts.
Yeah.
And sometimes you finally see the payoff.
What's up? Mm-hmm. Speaking of efforts, let's talk a little bit about the lesson you've learned in life. Sure, you ready?
Yeah.
So let's start off early on. What was the lessons you learned from your parents? Were they successful in business? Because you have a really unique entrepreneur spirit.
I grew up in Anaheim, California. My father owned a trash company that he started with his father, and I watched him work his ass off, 6-7 days a week, having quartered employees, driving trucks around all of Orange County. So it was a very big responsibility. My mom was a stay-at-home mom and did a beautiful job, 100% perfect effort every time, like beautiful back lunches and perfectly made beds and dinner ready by the time we got home. And from both of my parents, I learned excellence in both of their fields. And as a professional now, as a mother, I really strive to be both of them, which is a lot of work. To be a great, focused, 100% all-in mom, and to be a leader in my business and to be a leader in my community. All of those things are incorporated to my day every day. It's a lot of pressure in front of myself, but I know that I'm capable of it. And so, I learned about humility, hard work, respecting employees, doing the right things for customers, all of the things that I saw my parents do, I really took to heart, and I feel that it's an honor to emulate them.
Yeah. Holy crap. Like, you said 400 employees for a garbage disposal company?
Yes.
Are they, like, committed to the city of Anaheim? Is it waste management? Your dad owned waste
management? My dad owned waste management. He owned, he's in the bomb. No, it's not. But my father owned a company called Termina Industries. They sold it to Republic Services.
Okay.
That's a public company. And they have the contracts for Anaheim, Yorba Linda, Brea. There was a lot of North Orange County.
Yeah.
So I grew up and working at the trash yard on my summers. On our summer breaks, I'd go in and I'd work in the accounting department, put checks in order, or do whatever needed to be done. But yeah, my dad started that. My grandpa started the trash company with a pickup truck, thinking he was dumping trash for the city of Santa Ana. Turns out he walked into Anaheim City Hall not realizing it was Anaheim and started dumping trash.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Wow.
Started with a dump truck, with like one pickup truck.
That is mind-blowing in itself. Like just that opportunity. What did you learn from your dad at that?
It was interesting because my dad had so much pressure on his shoulders. His father passed away from cancer when he was in his 30s. So he took over the business from his father along with his brother and sister and really had an enormous burden and also opportunity on his shoulders. So I saw an example of what it meant to work your ass off, grind as much as you could have every day. But I also remember my dad seeming worn out and maybe not having balance and, sleeping on the couch some night because he'd be there till 10 o'clock at night and had to be there at 6 o'clock a.m. the next morning. And my mom really sort of filled in the gap in, making sure everything was taken care of at home. And I often think about how as a professional and in real estate, because my job is really 7 days a week, how can I give quality time to my kids when I'm with them? How can I make sure that I spend meaningful time with my husband while not being distracted from my job? And it's sort of a constant balance of figuring out which one is most important, at any given time.
I give you props for that, for you making it your own way, not trying to take over the business.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact you actually worked there, like if I was a little child and my dad owned a business like that, I would just walk in and help out, but not like really, in that job,
Yeah. I've
been proud for that.
I've had so many jobs that people are surprised that I've had. Their family always had a little bit more resources than the people we lived around in Anaheim. But I've been a cleaning lady. I've worked at toy store. I've been a babysitter, all sorts of things that I didn't have to work, but I worked all through high school and through college. Even though my parents helped support me, I still knew it was important for me to make my own way.
What technique, what strategy did they use to get you to do that type of work? I see my son, I see a lot of kids where their parents have resources and they're like, getting them to work is really hard.
Now, listen, my kids are not doing tons of chores, so I don't know. But I did.
Or what did your parents do?
Well, my parents did with us. We had chores. My parents were loving but stern.
Yeah.
I like the thought of disappointing my parents would turn me into a puddle of tears. Terrifying. I don't think kids are very afraid of their parents anymore. But the best way to teach people things is to just lead by example. Instead of forcing them into it, I saw my parents do the things that they did, and I saw them take pride in everything they did.
Yeah. I heard a quote recently too, and I was like, if you do something special enough, people will follow.
Mm-hmm.
And it hit me so hard because I come from a fundamentalist background, and there was always this message to force, or not even force was the wording they used, but that's how be 90 as well. Yeah, to a degree.
Yeah.
And I have learned so much more about inspiring instead of pulling.
Right.
So I'm really happy to hear your story. And that's where you have this platform where you have these parents who were super successful. You had every reason to just consider yourself lucky and go down on their coattails.
Yeah.
What was the first opportunity that you pivoted there? How did you create your own luck? How did you go from, house cleaner, right, and trash girl, for lack of a better term, to entrepreneur badass? Now you own a bridal shop. You have a successful commercial and residential practice. Your partner and spouse has. Do you guys own that together?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So you have a successful gym in Newport.
Yes.
Yeah, that's huge.
I think that all of us at some level have resources available to us, whether they're plentiful in, let's say, mom and dad have millions of dollars they're willing to loan you or give you, or hardworking spirit. All of us have some kind of opportunity that's in us and around us. And so it's really about understanding how to best utilize that. So when I think about the difference between my upbringing and my husband's, my parents, worked really hard and they had plenty of financial resources. And when I graduated from college, I decided that I was going to work for my family, manage their real estate, but I also had the idea to open some businesses. So I was lucky enough to sit with my dad at a Marie Callender's one day, and on a one-page sheet, I made out a business plan for the bridal shop I wanted to open. It was actually a quinceañera dress store. And so he basically allowed me to use one of the buildings that he already owned in Anaheim, formerly been a biker church with graffiti all over the walls. And I opened that as my first quinceañera dress store. And he gave me a business loan, and I opened the quinceañera dress store. And I learned so much from doing that.
Keep the graffiti.
No.
Is this set for anybody too?
Right?
It is. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing.
Maybe.
That's so funny.
So, but when I think about that, I had that opportunity. I also had the drive to do it, where my husband grew up without as many financial resources, and he had to work really hard to get where he is today. And he leveraged energy, he leveraged passion, and he leveraged relationships to get where he is. So he's really good at following through with things. He's really good at really investing heavily into people so that they then reinvest into him. So all of us, I think a lot of times from the outside, it might look like, gosh, you're so lucky. You had a wealthy family. Of course you're successful. But it's really up to every individual to determine what it is that they have available to them and utilize that in order to create their own success.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. I got 2 questions for you.
Yes.
Question number 1 is, you didn't feel the pressure of taking over the business and just running the business. Did you feel the heat from them, or did they give you choices like, hey, you can do this or do your own thing, or did you feel obligated? You said how you didn't like to let your parents down. Mm-hmm. Did you feel like you kind of let them down a little? How do you find that balance where I want to keep my parents happy, but I also want to do my own thing, especially growing up Asian? Yes. I'm not an engineer and I'm not a pharmacist. And I pretty much did my own thing, but even till today, my parents make me feel like poo. They're like, when is that degree going to be put on the wall? I'll still wait too. I'm still waiting.
Yes. Okay. So
pressure. That's what I want.
My parents did not put pressure on me to be a part of their business, but I think that they did have expectations that I would do the best that I could. And what's interesting is that I've always had a desire to be a part of my dad's business and understand his real estate. As a kid, I would drive around commercial office parks on the weekends and try to see if there were any vacant buildings. Or he would pretend to be a realtor and take us after church and go through open houses in, Anaheim Hills or Peralta Hills or wherever. So real estate has always been in my blood, and that was the part that I did connect with. So after I went to Boston University and studied business, I moved back to California after a little bit on the East, after time in New York, and I started managing his real estate. And so that's how I became a part of the family business. And so now with my siblings, we lead the management of our family's real estate portfolio.
That's great.
And so I basically inserted myself into that because I was interested in it instead of being forced into it. And I think that they've always been really supportive of us. They care that we're happy and healthy, that we're safe, and that we are thriving. And that was their priority over, this is what you're going to do. This is what you have to do. This is what our family does. And this is how people know us. It was more like, we're proud of you. And of course they would say when I was doing something in my life, if they thought I maybe could do better, they would give me input. But they've always been very supportive, I think, because I've always made it a priority to do my best.
That goes to question number 2.
Okay.
Question number 2, because you do have resources, you have a loving family, do you feel the pressure of taking it further than they did?
Definitely. I definitely hold myself at a higher standard, knowing that the bar is very high already. And I tell my parents that I continually am trying to live up to them. And they say, no, don't try and live up to us. You're better than us. Live up to your own standard. But what I mean by that when I say I'm trying to live up to you is that I look up to you. I love you. I'm so proud to be your daughter. And that I hope to one day have respect and traction in the community that they have. So.
Well, yeah, great parents. They supported you. Like you said, growing up, Asian, they're supporting you to live their dream. They want you to live. I think not a lot of parents who lives life, all the things that they missed out on, they want the kid to live they want to live vicariously like kids. Either in success or like I want my kid to play high school football because I didn't get to play high school football. Right. But then I see them pick up a ball and they're like, oh, he's not playing. But I get it.
Yeah.
No, I hear all this to help me parent better now.
I love your energy around it. There's like so much emotion that even comes through with it. It's nothing short of beautiful. It seems like it even came from the fact, what I'm learning as a parent here, and I'd love to get your confirmation on it, is came from the fact that your parents were just really content with their own success, and therefore they didn't have to push it on you. I know coming from first generation immigrant parents, my dad disowned me when I said I wanted to go to Bible college instead of regular college. I literally got taken off his will. I got taken off of beneficiaries. And when he passed away, I got nothing but a t-shirt from him, and so his intention though was so there for me because he didn't know how else to parent me, and so he didn't have that self-contentment with where he had come from. And I see that because of that, he put pressure on me. All that to say, I'm way more successful than he would have ever dreamed of, and I know he'd be super proud of me now. But I see that aspect of just self-contentment being so strong to just let your kids be who they are.
Yeah.
Let them hit their potential.
And with each generation, I think it softens. Like my parents didn't have my father had a lot of pressure put on him. I don't know that he had a choice. I think that he wanted to do other things, but his parents said they're going to take over this business. And so I think that if we are conscious and aware of what we have inside, what our baggage is, and how we put that on or don't put that on our children or anyone around us, really, that's how you make progress and create more love and opportunity in your family.
Yeah, that's so good as an employer with employees, as somebody who's trying to love themselves well. Like all those is so applicable.
Yeah.
Let's get into the bridal piece. That was your first business?
That was my first, yes.
Okay. I'd love to learn lessons from each one of the categories here. So in the bridal business, if you had to redo a retail store now, number one, would you even go into retail and have an actual brick and mortar shop? And if you would, how would you do it?
So the first biggest mistake I made in my business career was that I bought too much inventory. So I got this loan from my dad after sitting in Marie calendars and having a slice of salad bar and a cornbread and a slice of pie. And I made a business plan for my quinceañera dress store. So yeah, my money pulls up with me. Okay. And I said, I'm going to be the best quinceañera store around. And the reason I wanted to open a quinceañera store was because I was managing our real estate, and there was a Sons of Italy hall that my grandparents owned, and a lot of the members had passed away. So I started renting it out for quinceañeras and baptisms. In Anaheim, I speak Spanish, so it was like, anyway, clients started asking me. Like,
That's a lot of competition.
Yeah, it is.
Quinceañera stores in Anaheim.
Especially I know when I like me. Yeah, right.
100%.
So they kept asking me if I would sell everything in a paquete, like in a package. Can you provide us the banquet hall, the food, the linens, the dress, everything? We want to pay one price. And that was probably one of the first lessons that I learned was your customer will tell you what they want. Don't be so stubborn on what you want to provide. Sometimes you have to be flexible.
Yeah.
So my customer first started saying, we want you to provide everything. I learned a lot about how that client base didn't have $6,000 up front, that they all worked 2 to 3 jobs each. And at the end of every week, they would bring me whatever cash they had in their pocket. I will never forget the feeling of them meeting me at the banquet hall on Friday afternoons when they got paid, and then pulling out wads of cash plus literal coins, and the coins being warm in my hand, thinking, wow, this person worked their ass off all week. Yeah. They've been saving for years for their daughter's quinceañera, and they are bringing me every penny that they have. Yeah. And I remember standing there with that warm money in my hand thinking, these people work so hard. And from that, I learned, okay, I need to help people with payment plans. And so that was one of the ways I was able to grow this business of quinceañeras and as the banquet hall, as well as segue into providing quinceañera dresses, was I recognized, okay, in most bridal gown stores and in most banquet halls, you have to put down 50 to 60% of a deposit to reserve your day. I recognized that for this clientele, working class Hispanic people of North Orange County, that asking them to come up with $2,000 to $3,000 off the bat to be able to reserve something was impossible. So I basically made an agreement with people and said, you can put down as little as $500, I'll order your dress and we'll reserve the banquet hall and call on a weekly basis and you pay whatever you can. And it was sort of revolutionary in a modern store, a modern retail store to do that, because most bridal shops, beside the ones in Santa Ana, would never order a dress without having that 50 or 60% deposit. So it was something that I learned early on in business, that sometimes what you know and what is the industry standard can be thrown out the window, and you can revolutionize a business by making changes and customizations specific to your customer. I know that with loans, you guys have to get really creative with people and with their specific circumstances, and you don't necessarily have quite as much flexibility because of regulation, but that there's always a way to make things work for your customer if you can get creative as a business owner and make sure that it's going to be profitable for you. So opening the bridal shop, going back to I bought too much inventory. So my dad gave me a loan, and I was so excited. I went out and bought a bunch of dresses. And what I didn't think about is that twice a year I have to buy not inventory that I would sell, but it's actually when you go into a bridal gown store, you go in, you try on samples, and then the store orders you a brand new dress. So all the dresses that are hanging there in the store as samples, twice a year have to be flushed out for new samples to come in. Is manufacturers requiring you to order new samples. So then I, after a year and a half in business, had a gigantic garage full of dresses. Samples that had been damaged. Like, shit, I ran out of money and I need to be... So I learned also to be more strategic about ordering and to be not constricted about the way that I spend, but to just be regulated about it. I had no budget. I had no,
As an entrepreneur, that's like your first L, right? Your first loss?
Oh, yeah.
How did you bounce back from that? It seems like your life, it's been kind of smooth, kind of, relaxing. You learned a lot. That first L, how do you bounce back from that? Like, instead of like, maybe this wasn't for me.
Yep.
let me liquidate everything and move on? Like, what made you decide to stay?
So how I bounced back from that was thinking about being resilient and not failing. And the same kind of mind frame of that I've got to always find a way for my customer is that I'd have to find a way for myself. I couldn't go back to my parents and said, well, that was pretty lame. I spent all the money you loaned me and I can't even pay my rent. So I started going to indoor swap meet. I started to do fashion shows. I actually hosted, now this is very timely because of the Super Bowl. I partnered up with Power 106. It was 105.9, Power 106. And I hosted my super sweet quinceañera. And it was at the same time MTV was having my Sweet 16 or something. It was like a show that was on. So we hosted a contest and people would come into my store and they would register for this radio contest to win their whole quinceañera. And I was going to have the party at my banquet hall, give them the dress and everything we would pay for. And basically on the day, we picked a winner. And on that day, Neo was supposed to come and sing her happy birthday. And the last minute, they called me and they said, we're really sorry. Neo can't come. We're sending this girl. She's brand new to the industry. And I said, whatever. I didn't even show up because I didn't know who she was. It turned out to be Rihanna.
No.
Yes. Oh my God. She was like a baby. Nobody knew who she was. I missed it because I was across the street of my bridal shop. She sang happy birthday to this girl.
No.
Yeah.
And you missed it.
I missed it. I didn't know.
You were set out. It's a good story.
So that was, you never know what's going to happen in business. But so by doing the radio promotion, a lot of people came into the store. And then brides started coming into the store. And brides said, do you sell wedding dresses here? Oh, we will next month. I'm like, shit, I got to parlay. So basically, exactly. So I chose to add bridal to our store. And now it's primarily a bridal store. 16 years later, it is one of Orange County's longest standing bridal gown stores. We also sell some quinceañera, but that's not primarily our business. And I think that by thinking quick on your feet, not giving up, and trying to hustle in a way that is scrappy is how I got through that. And that's really what I've used to continue to get through my career and the ups and downs is finding ways to solve problems without requiring money.
Man, I wish I could.
That is the answer right there.
Yeah. I think a lot of people have too much focus on themselves and their ego. And it doesn't get them very far. I think if you think about people who talk about themselves a lot, it gets really boring following them.
Yeah.
There's nothing in it for you as the viewer.
Yeah. Last topic here. Turf. Lessons you've learned there. Do you know what turf is?
No, I don't.
Oh, no? Oh, wait. That's on my face. I was like, oh, and I'm guessing that's turf.
All right. So I was a rower in high school and college. When I moved back from Boston and New York, I joined
I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't know what rowers are.
Rowing. Okay.
Like row your boat.
Row your boat. Okay, it's more of an East Coast thing. So I was a rower in high school, college. I met my husband, my current husband, at Equinox in Newport Beach. He had moved here from New York, was teaching a rowing class. Anyway, we fell in love. We have a passion for fitness together. And he left Equinox.
It's like a modern alfalfa store.
So he basically left Equinox, opened a studio in our house. And then a little over a year ago, we took over a gym that has been in Newport Beach for 30 years and created Turf. So Turf is a 6,000 square foot, it used to be the Bank of Newport.
Oh, wow.
But it's a personal training studio as well as group fitness. And my husband, Webb Travis, runs that. It's very successful. Anybody trains there and works out there. It's very popular in Newport Beach.
What makes Turf different from other gyms? I was at a gym yesterday that my buddy owns. He runs his just like a barbershop.
Yeah.
Where influencers, workout influencers, they pay him a fee every month and they bring as many people they want in to trade. And then people, they film their stuff there so they can sell courses online. I know what that is. What makes Turf different?
So Turf is interesting because we took over for an existing gym. There are trainers and members who have been there for 30 years. And so what's interesting about our gym is I think that it's such a diverse client base. So there are people there who are training that are in their 80s. And there's clients that are in their 60s. They're fit and they're awesome. But we're very inclusive. And I don't mean that in like a woke way. What I mean is that we recognize that health and fitness is important to everyone at every age. So we have athletes as young as, 6th graders, 7th graders who are training for a specific sport.
Yeah.
We do have, fitness influencers. And then we have a lot of professionals who are in their 40, 50, 60s who have built a career, have families, and who care about being pain-free and being able to move well for their sport. So it's a very, very diverse environment.
I like that one.
And it's really cool. Such a great energy to go in there.
Last question before we get into any departing advice you leave with anybody. Lessons from Turf. right? Like it's not easy to take over a company, rebrand it, keep a culture that the trainers want to stay on, right? Having the books, make sure they still make sense after the first initial investment, and then renovate an entire bank into a gym.
Yeah.
Like those are not easy feats.
Yeah.
And so what did you learn from that? Wins, losses, and just even moments you're proud of on good decisions you did.
Yep. So we took over a business from a couple that had been there, Mike and Mona, very much a staple of the community for 30 years. And so I think a lot of times when people take over businesses or buy out companies, they think, I'm just going to get out. I want to do my whole thing and blow everything out and start over new. We were really respectful of the community that they had built. So we wanted to make changes very slowly. And we also recognized the client base that was there, a lot of them being older, more established, or more set in their ways, that would really blow up their world.
Yeah.
So we were very slow about the way they made changes and very intentional. We had Mike and Mona, the people we bought the business from, they stayed there and they trained for 3 to 6 months. They trained their clients so that it wasn't like on August 1st, you're like, you're out. Yeah. And that, so we allowed them time to transition out in a pace that was comfortable for them. We would make changes to the gym, but a little bit at a time. So there was a lot of old, like outdated kind of bodybuilder equipment there. We got rid of a lot of it that we could install turf and have more functional stuff. But we did it a little at a time. And sometimes there was some like, where's my favorite calf raise machine going? We didn't need 3, Bob. Okay, we just need 1. So we had to do, sometimes there was some, but I think it was taking our time, being respectful of the people that came before us, listening to our clients and our customers and seeing, okay, each month we would make sort of like one investment. Yeah. So the most recent investment we made was in a water filter. We used to sell bottled water. We still do, but now we put in one of those reusable bottle fillers, chilled bottle fillers, and people have loved that. We made some upgrades to the spin bikes because they were literally 30 years old and very heavy and clunky. So we bought new spin bikes, but we do little changes over time. So I think if someone is launching into a new business, taking over another business, or just thinking about doing that, it's important to just take your time. People are usually so excited and passionate about their business, but they want to make everything happen all at once, and they put so much pressure on themselves to figure it all right away. Just prioritize and do a little bit at a time, and know that you're going to learn so much over the course of even the first month or year that you don't have to have it all figured out now.
Yeah.
In the beginning.
It's so good.
Yeah.
Love it. That's so good. No, holy crap. Kacey, any last minute or last words of advice for the audience?
Drink a lot of water and do not drink energy drinks.
Great. Next episode.
I'll go back in my car.
So if you're in a position of life and you just thought to yourself, I want to give up. I don't feel like I've had, good lot casted to me. I've had the short end of the stick. You don't feel lucky. Take some lessons from Kacey's stories today, right? You create your own luck. And a lot of times that comes by giving yourself a chance for the small things. Because those small things will bring you onto the right path long-term. Because it's not about quick wins. It's about the long-term wins overall. And you deserve to make sure to put yourself in that right spot so you can be that winner long-term as well. Cool. Thanks, guys.
Yeah.